Anthony Edward Stark is a fictional character primarily portrayed by Robert Downey Jr. in the Marvel Cinematic Universe (MCU) media franchise based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name, commonly known by his alias. Ironman. Stark is initially depicted as an industrialist, genius inventor, and former playboy who is CEO of Stark Industries. Initially the chief weapons manufacturer for the U.S. military, he has a change of heart and redirects his technical knowledge into creating mechanized suits of armor, which he uses to defend Earth. Anthony Edward Tony Stark was born in Manhattan on May 29 in 1970 to Howard Stark and Maria Stark. His father, Howard, was a genius inventor and businessman, but Stark felt his father took more pride in his creations. Stark attended Phillips Academy and MIT, graduating summa cum laude at 17. His parents were killed in a car accident, leading Stark to inherit his father's company and become CEO of Stark Industries. He became a weapons designer and inventor, living a playboy lifestyle. In 2010, Stark and Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes demonstrate Stark's new Jericho missile in Afghanistan. Stark is imprisoned by the Ten Rings and is implanted with an electromagnet. They secretly build an arc reactor to power Stark's electromagnet and armor suit. Stark burns the Ten Rings weapons and announces his company will no longer manufacture weapons. He learns Obadiah Stane is involved in arms trafficking and is staging a coup to replace him as CEO. Stark defeats Stane and publicly admits to being Iron Man. In 2011, Stark's fame grows and he uses his Iron Man suit for peaceful purposes. He reinstitutes the Stark Expo to continue his father's legacy, but discovers that the palladium core in his armor is poisoning him. He appoints Pepper Potts CEO of Stark Industries. Stark competes in the Monaco Historic Grand Prix and defeats Ivan Vanko, but his suit is damaged. Rhodes confiscates Stark's Mark II armor for the U.S. Air Force. Stark discovers a hidden message from his father and defeats Vanko and his drones. In 2012, Asgardian Loki arrives and threatens Earth, prompting Fury to activate the Avengers Initiative. The Avengers face Loki's plan to use the Tesseract for weapons, leading to a wormhole in New York City. Stark intercepts a nuclear missile, disabling the Chitauri fleet. Stark suffers from PTSD and reaffirms his Iron Man identity. In 2015, Stark and Bruce Banner raid a Hydra facility led by Wolfgang von Strucker, discovering an artificial intelligence within the Scepter's gem. Ultron eliminates Stark's AI JRVS and attacks the Avengers. The Avengers defeat Ultron, who plans to crash a machine to cause global extinction. In 2016, the Avengers are divided over the Sokovia Accords, which would establish UN oversight. Stark supports oversight due to his role in Ultron's creation and Sokovia's devastation, while Rogers has more faith in their judgment. The Avengers, including Stark, assemble a team to capture the Renegades, but Rogers and Barnes go rogue. Stark dismembers Barnes' robotic arm and dismembers Barnes' suit. Rogers eventually disables Stark's Iron Man armor and leaves with Barnes. 2 months later, Peter Parker resumes his high school studies, but Stark warns him against involvement with criminals. Parker saves a plane from a hijacking plan and agrees to become an Avenger full-time. Stark proposes to Potts, who returns the suit to Peter. In 2018, Stark and Potts discuss having children when Banner warns them of Titan Thanos' plan to use Infinity Stones to kill half of all life. They confront Thanos and free him, but Thanos overpowers them and stabs Stark. Strange surrenders the Time Stone in exchange for sparing Stark, and Thanos takes the stone and activates the Infinity Gauntlet. Stark and Nebula are stranded on Titan. Stark and Nebula are rescued from space by Carol Danvers and return to Earth. Stark builds a secret beach house lab in Mexico to merge his identities. In 2023, the Avengers plan to retrieve the Infinity Stones from the past to undo Thanos' actions. Stark steals the Space Stone from a facility in the 1970s and uses it to resurrect the disintegrated stones. An alternate version of Thanos and his army, summoned by Nebula, defeats Stark and his forces. Stark uses the gauntlet to disintegrate Thanos and save the universe, but injures himself. 8 months after Stark's death, Parker receives glasses that allow him to access Stark's AI. However, disgruntled former Stark Industries employee Quentin Beck tricked him into giving the glasses, aiming to fill the vacancy left by Stark as Iron Man. Beck uses Stark's glasses to attack London, targeting Parker. Parker retakes the glasses and designs his own suit using Stark's technology. In pre-production, Robert Downey and Favreau had greater involvement in the screenwriting process, adding humor to the film. They spent 5 days a week weight training and practicing martial arts to prepare for the film. The revelation of Stark's alter ego at the end of Iron Man was improvised by Downey Jr. The Avengers introduced Stark's role as one of an ensemble of heroes who must come together to defend Earth from an alien invasion led by the god Loki. Downey initially pushed director Joss Whedon to make Stark the lead of the 2012 Avengers film, but it didn't work due to the different theme and the different sort of story. In Iron Man 3, Stark struggles to come to terms with his near-death experience in the Avengers, suffering from anxiety attacks. Downey said they tried to be practical in a post-Avengers world, considering his challenges and limitations. Screenwriter Drew Pearce compared Stark in Iron Man 3 to an American James Bond for both being heroes with a sense of danger to them and unpredictability, and likening Tony to the protagonists of 1970s films such as The French Connection. In Avengers: Age of Ultron, Tony Stark becomes the benefactor of the Avengers, realizing that his previous role in Iron Man 3 left him with PTSD. Stark's egomania leads to a guilt complex, causing him to make specific decisions. Marvel initially wanted Downey's part to be smaller, but Downey wanted Stark to have a more substantial role in the film's plot. Downey would receive $40 million plus backend for his participation, as well as an additional payout if the film outperformed Captain America: The Winter Soldier. In Spider-Man: Homecoming, Stark is Peter Parker's mentor and the creator of the U.S. Department of Damage Control. Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group chairman Thomas Rothman noted that Stark's inclusion was important due to the relationship established between him and Parker in Captain America: Civil War. Downey reprised the role in Avengers: Infinity War, 2018, and Avengers: Endgame, 2019, and Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige stated that the character of Stark would continue to be featured in the Marvel Cinematic Universe regardless of Downey's involvement. In June 2013, Downey expressed his interest in continuing to play Iron Man in Avengers: Age of Ultron and signed on for a third Avengers film. Stark's fashion sense evolved over the films, evolving from basic to more sophisticated by Civil War. His clothing reflects his identity as Tony Stark, alternating between boxy pinstripe suits and faux-ironic vintage t-shirts. Downey, a record 4-time winner of the Saturn Award for Best Actor, has won the role of Tony Stark, tied with Mark Hamill for most wins.